What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue here with my 2024 predictions for the upcoming 2024 college football season. The Arizona State Sun Devils are up next. Arizona State coming off a pretty rough year last year, going just 3-9 in 2023. It really wasn't just about the record. It was more about the coaching staff. Of course, it was a first-year head coach last year, and this was kind of a different roster as well. Arizona State was also in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 was very good last year, and it was a tough conference. I mean, that's the reason why I think they went 3-9. Now they switch over to the Big 12 in 2024. And my thoughts on this team, though, coming up for this upcoming season, I think Arizona State's going to be a little bit more competitive than they were last year. I think this will be a really good team. It is going to be tough to make it to a bowl game, though, just because of what the schedule looks like, but I do like this roster, a good amount of production coming back and everything. And I think they could be really consistent as a team as well in the future coming up in the Big 12. So, again, let's get to that schedule now here for 2024. This is the schedule here for Arizona State. Again, they were 3-9 last year in 2023. So let's go game by game now and give you a record prediction here for the Sun Devils for 2024. And they start things off with Wyoming here on August 31st. This game will be at 10:30 Eastern time, so it will be a late night game to start out the year here for Arizona State. Wyoming is not a bad team out of the group of 5 level and out of the Mountain West and everything. They did upset a Big 12 team last year in Texas Tech, so they could do that again here against Arizona State. I think Arizona State, though, will come out really fired up in this one, just because it's a new season and everything. And I think Arizona State's getting a lot of hype this year as well, but I'm not really high on this team, but I think they'll start off with an easy win here against Wyoming. I do think it's not going to be a blowout, though. I think it will be a game where they'll probably just win by 14 to 17 points in that range. So I got the Sun Devils starting off 1-0, and then after that, there's the big non-conference game against Mississippi State here on September 7th. Mississippi State going with the coaching change. I think both of these teams and these programs are pretty even. Arizona State, though, might be a little bit just ahead of Mississippi State just because of the coaching change and everything. This is a home game here for Arizona State. I think it's a pretty even matchup, and I think it will be a 50-50 game. It will be a close game, and I saw a time for this game. It's at 10:30 Eastern time as well. So this will be a late night kickoff here for this Mississippi State team having to travel out west and everything. I think that really is going to affect the Bulldogs here in this situation. So I'm going to go with Arizona State here to get the win just because of the traveling thing, and also I just think Arizona State might be a better team than Mississippi State as well. Again, the defense, a lot of concerns there for Mississippi State coming up this upcoming season. And then I think Arizona State takes care of business against Texas State here on September 12th. They don't really have a lot of time to prepare for that non-conference game, but I do think they beat Texas State here either way, and they start off 3-0 going into conference play. They'll play Texas Tech here on the road on September 21st. I think both of these teams are pretty even. Two of the more consistent teams maybe coming up here in the Big 12 this season. I think Texas Tech, though, is a little bit better than Arizona State, and plus are playing at home. I think the Red Raiders get the win here in a close one, so I got Texas Tech getting the win there and giving Arizona State their first loss of the season. So that puts Arizona State's record now here at 3-1. They get a bye week before playing Kansas here at home on October 5th. I think Arizona State might have a chance to upset Kansas here in this game, although the Jayhawks are definitely an experienced team as well. They do have a lot of production coming back. Jalen Daniels is a very underrated quarterback. I do trust him a little bit more to make explosive plays maybe in the second half. I think by the fourth quarter, I think Kansas probably pulls away from there, and I think Kansas gets the win here. So I think Arizona State now drops to 3-2. Again, that's a close game. They get a bye week before playing that game, and that really gives them time to really prepare for that game. So I think Arizona State might have a chance to upset Kansas in that game. Again, it really wouldn't shock me if they were able to upset Kansas in that matchup. After that, they'll play Utah here at home on October the 11th. This game, of course, will be on a Friday. This will be their second weeknight game since that September 12th non-conference game that they'll play on Thursday night. They play this game on a Friday, of course. We've seen a lot of upsets happen here on these weeknight games, of course, in the past in the Big 12 Conference. But Utah going to be a very talented team this year. A lot of experience coming back for them. Cam Rising back at quarterback. I think this is going to be a really dangerous team. And I think it's not going to be a game where Arizona State might have a chance to pull off the upset here. I think it's a close game in the first half. I think Utah probably finds a way to pull away in the second half, so I'm going to go with Utah here to get the win. And I think they're definitely the more talented team. So I think Arizona State loses 3 games in a row. So after a 3-0 start, they lose 3 games in a row here in their first 3 games in the Big 12. After that, they'll play Cincinnati here on the road on October 19th. Cincinnati's a team that I'm not really that high on this year. They could be probably one of the worst teams in the Big 12 this year, but I think both of these teams are pretty even. You got 2 second-year head coaches going at it, so I think this will be a very competitive game. And like I said, I think it's a pretty even matchup that can go either way. So with that being said, a close game to call. I'm going to go with Cincinnati here just because of the home field advantage. And I think that is really unlucky here for Arizona State to probably have this game on the road instead of course, having it at home, because that would probably been their first Big 12 win. But I got Arizona State losing that game, and that'll put their record now here at 3-4. They get their second bye week here before going on the road to play Oklahoma State on November 2nd. I really don't think the Sun Devils have a chance to pull off a huge upset here on the road at Oklahoma State. Arizona State might be better by this time coming out of the bye week and everything, but Oklahoma State also with a ton of production coming back, and this is a very talented team as well. Just like the Utah game, I don't really expect a close game here. I don't think it's like similar to the Utah game, though, where it's close in the first half. I think it's all Oklahoma State here in this one. I don't really expect a blowout, but I think Oklahoma State definitely wins that game by a decent amount. So I got Arizona State losing that game. That puts them now at 3-5. Next game will be against UCF here on November 9th. This will be a home game here for Arizona State. Very winnable game here for Arizona State. UCF has to travel out west and everything. That's going to be another long trip here for some of these teams, just like the Mississippi State game. Having to travel out west and everything, that really could affect, some of the teams here on the schedule. But again, UCF, I think they're definitely the more talented team here. I done my UCF video from last weekend, and I did choose the Knights here in this one. I think UCF is a very talented team. They have a lot of playmakers on their roster, and also they're a well-coached team as well. So with that being said, I think Arizona State comes up really big short here in this one. I think they come up short to pull off the upset here in this one and also get their first win here in the Big 12. So I'm going to go with UCF here to get the win. That drops Arizona State now to 3-6. And then after that is a road game against Kansas State here on November 16th. Another game that I don't think Arizona State has a chance to win this one. Kansas State, that's a very tough place to play. I think they're going to be a really good team this year as well. They're kind of like similar to the Oklahoma State team. Not a lot of production coming back and everything, but they should have a really good defense either way. So I got Kansas State getting the win here, and plus they're well coached as well, just like the UCF team and everything. So I got Arizona State now dropping to 3-7, so no bowl game this year. But after that, they'll play BYU here at home on November 23rd. I think Arizona State by this point is kind of desperate for a win that, their first win in the Big 12. After consecutive losses and everything, after starting off 3-0 and after losing all their games here in the Big 12, I think they're desperate for a win at this point. And I think their win finally comes here against BYU. I don't think BYU is going to be really that good this year. I don't think they're going to be terrible, but I just don't think they're going to be really all that good. They do have a tough schedule this year, and I think both of these teams otherwise are pretty even. So I'm going to go with Arizona State here to get the win in a close one. So now that puts Arizona State's record now at 4-7, and that's also their first win in the Big 12 under their second-year head coach and also in program history. And then the final game of the season will be against rival Arizona here on the road on November 30th. Last year's rivalry game, of course, wasn't really all that close. I think Arizona's a much more better team than Arizona State still. I think this game will be a little bit closer than last year. It could be close in the first half. I think at the end of the day, the Wildcats are the better team here in this one. And I think they probably win this game by 10 to 14 points. I know it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen, but again, I think Arizona is definitely the better team here in this one. So I'm going to go with Arizona there to knock off Arizona State here in the rivalry game. And I got Arizona State finishing with a record of 4-8. So a little bit of improvement from last year, but not really that big improvement, not getting to a bowl game and everything. And when it comes to the Big 12, these are really tough games to predict. I was really close to making Arizona State beat UCF and everything, but again, UCF I think is a much more talented team. But again, that's a very winnable game. The Kansas game is also a very very winnable games, so I can definitely see this Arizona State team doing a lot better than that 4-8 record. They can probably go 5-7. They can probably go to a bowl game and go 6-6. I think that's what they can really do. If they can go 6-6, that's definitely looking really good into the future and everything of the Big 12 for Arizona State. But again, if they do not make a bowl game this year, the future is just not there for them this year just yet. But again, I got them going 4-8 here for 2024. That is my official prediction here for the Arizona State Sun Devils for the upcoming 2024 season. So let me guys know what you think about this Arizona State team down in the comments below. What do you think their record will be for 2024? Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.